Thank you. A recent speech started with a joke about how men dread their colonoscopy because it's so uncomfortable. For those of you who don't know, the colonoscopy is a procedure in which they stick a probe up your backside to look for incipient cancer. I laughed at the joke, but part of me was thinking, no, my colonoscopy wasn't uncomfortable. They sedated me. I was asleep the whole time. Oh, the part before the colonoscopy was pretty hellish, and the aftermath was painful, but the procedure itself was just fine. Most of you, however, wouldn't have known that because you probably haven't been through it. But you will. Once you hit 50, and it's not just the men, the women go through it too.
No.
Yes. I'm here to give you my personal first-hand experience on the theory that if your experience is anything like mine was, maybe it will help prepare you. The preparation started the day before the colonoscopy. In order to clear my colon out so they could get a better look, I had to avoid solid foods, drink only clear liquids such as water and 7-Up, and drink about a gallon of this magnesium solution over a period of about 4 to 6 hours, which meant staying up all night. Most of that was not too bad, except the magnesium. My digestive system did not like that magnesium. After about 3 or 4 hours, my stomach looked up and said, "Oh, I don't like that stuff. It's not food. It's not water. I'm sending it back." I responded by acting like the priest of the world's weirdest religion. I bowed down in worship of the wall behind my kitchen sink. "Oh, great and holy wall, please accept my offering." After I finished my benediction, I followed the instructions, which said to continue drinking that magnesium over the next few hours, and I got the rest of it down without incident. The next morning, I went to the hospital. At the hospital, they put me in one of those gowns that left me completely exposed from the back and wheeled me into a room where they injected me with a sedative. The good news is that the sedative worked. It knocked me unconscious until the end of the procedure. The bad news is that it knocked me unconscious about 5 seconds too late. Just before I fell asleep, I found out what it was like to have someone, quote unquote, lubricate the hole. And based on how it felt, the guy who lubricated my hole had fingers the size of a silverback gorilla. Where did they find someone with fingers that thick? I swear, he probably came in walking on his knuckles, as if the last 4.5 million years of human evolution was just something that had happened to other people. Luckily, that's the last thing I had to remember until I woke up about an hour later. The nurse informed me that while I was unconscious, they pumped air into my colon to get a better look around and found 3 small polyps, which were not cancerous, but which could have developed into cancer. So as part of the colonoscopy, they removed them. Snip, snip, snip. I didn't know they removed issues like that during the colonoscopy, but I'm glad they did. As far as I'm concerned, it's all worth it if they were able to remove 3 life-threatening issues before they became problems. So I was pretty glad that I'd had the colonoscopy for about the next 3 minutes. As the anesthetic wore off, I noticed a pain developing in my stomach. It got worse, and worse, and worse. I asked the nurse, and she told me what it was. Do you remember a moment ago when I said that they'd pumped air up my colon? They had inflated me like a balloon to get a good view. That air had to come out. It came out the same way it went in. If you aren't getting the picture yet, what that means is that I spent about the next 15 minutes off to the side in a cot, sounding like the world's most persistent whoopee cushion. Finally, it was over, and that was the worst of it. I went home, recovered, and the next day I was fine and went back to work. All in all, I'm glad I did it. Those 3 polyps that they removed made the whole thing worth it, in my opinion. With my family history of cancer, they scheduled me for a return visit once every 5 years instead of the usual 10, and I'll be glad to do it. I'm just hoping that the next time, I won't wind up worshiping that stupid wall again. Thank you.